So here we have this statement. So this is the statement that we need to copy to check the count. So we have already executed it. Now it is having 6 records in the target. So let's do one thing. You can come here. We can put this count star. Okay. But this will just give you the count of the records from the table. But we should store this in into some variable so that we can start using that variable to populate the value in the next component because we need to use it, right? So in this will return a value. So I'm just changing this to a single row instead of none. So if you come here, this is enable. So you can just change it here. And if you already have a variable, then well and good, you can start using it. But I don't have any variable where you can store the value. Yeah, we have it. Okay. So this is the target record count that we can use it. Here the result name, you can just put as 0. Okay, this is the standard. You just need to change it. So as of now, we have only one column, so we can put at 0. Let's say you have two columns which we receive and two variables is there which needs to be mapped. So when you're mapping the first variable, then you need to put as 0. The second one is 2. Likewise, you need to maintain the sequence. Okay. So hit OK. So the value which will come from this count star will be assigned to this variable. So that will come here. Then what is next? That is something we have already mapped it, right? The target record count. Next is the process state and the package name. So the process state and package name can directly come from some system variable. If you come here, expand it. 1, 2, and these two are string, right? So it should be n background. Where is the n background? N background. And we need to put in the names. So the first one is the process state. So come here. It's fine. Next is the case name. Okay. So here, as I mentioned, like we can get the values from one system variable. So let's go here. So package name. If I'll say creation date, that will not the date that we are expecting. Creation date is something when we have created this package. Okay. But the container start time, this is something you can put in like when the execution starts, or else what we can do, you can have a derived column where you can just derive these two values. In derived column, what you can do, there is two options. Either you can use the container start time when the execution starts, else you can use a derived column transformation and you can derive these two values and then you can put in. For the time being, I don't want it. So let's do one thing. This is also correct, right? You can also use the container start time. So let's use it. And the package name, if you just come down, package ID, package name. These are the system variables that you can use for logging. And the last thing which is left is the duration. So how we can check the duration? The container start time, the difference between the container start time and the current date time. That should be the duration. So if we just come here, parameter. So we don't have any direct option where you can do it, right? So what we can do, we need to introduce a derived column where you can just get the duration. Okay. This is for demonstrating, this is not a right design, okay? I'm saying in the real time. We should not lose this time for defining, we should not complex this design. So what we can do, we can have a derived column transformation, or what we can do, we can just check the difference. So let's do one thing. You already have this continuous start time. So instead of doing this, we can just make it easy, saying applying an expression, okay? Saying this duration should be the difference between this process date and the current date. That is the default value that we can put in here, but I'm not sure like if we can just put in here. But let's, for the timing, let's exclude it and move further, okay? I'll do one thing. The duration, we can put in something. We'll expect the values, right? So here itself, in the duration, what we can do, we can just change this, alter, and we know like this is a value which will receive process date. Let's say interval is I'll say says, okay. Okay, this is something we can try. So if I'll say select date, if first we can check this expression if it is giving some value or not. Okay, get it. Okay, fine. This is something we can use it. So in that particular case, we don't need this variable to be available. So let's do one thing. Let's remove this parameter. We don't need it. But when, as I mentioned earlier, like we have the facility to change it from the outside. So we did it something, right? What happened to this? Okay, in values, we won't be able to supply. Let's do one thing. Let's select. Okay. Now we have 6 instead of 7. So 6 we have already supplied. There was only one thing that we need to change here. Thus we need to remove one question mark. So 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 we have already supplied, and the value which is the duration that would be derived from the store procedure. So let's do one thing. Let's execute this one. Yeah. Target table name. We have this target table name, demo02, right? The same thing that we have supplied here. This should not throw any error, but still, let's do one thing. Let's give a proper name and give it a try. If it is not still not functioning, we'll start using the existing one. So we should give the extension. Now this looks proper. This is something we'll supply and see. So we see is we need to change the variable name. Now I want to secure this particular task. Still it is throwing error. Let's do one thing. For the time being, I'm not using this. We can explore this, what's the error and how it is not functioning. This time it should work. Go to the Explorer, see what's the error. The variable demo file path was not found in the variable collection. We have not used it, right? Let me see like if that's the same path that we have used. What it is showing, the variable which we removed, we feel like that is not in use. That is still in use in some of the component. That's why it is throwing error. So let's go and check demo. This is connection manager. Okay. Here we are using the value directly, so this should not throw any error. So check out com. Demo 2, this is not using it. Okay, we have not removed. So what we did earlier, so this is not causing any issue. So we can start using the variable, that's fine. Okay, what we did actually, we removed the variable which is not in use, but we didn't check like what is the impact of that variable if you're removing it. Remember yesterday we have used the variable for this connection string to make it dynamic, but we have not removed this connection string which is not in use for this particular example. So that's why it is causing error and it is failing in the initial phase of the validation itself. So we have to remove it and I removed it. Still it is throwing error. Might be because of the name that we changed the variable. Let's do one thing. Let's make it proper again. So this time also, the table name. Let's see what's the error this time. Error occurs, source, no DTV connection as a result set information. Statement is not correct. That means it is not trying to evaluate the name of this object. So let's do one thing. I'll look into it later, but for the time being, let's move in and remove this. We'll start using this variable name directly. Next time we'll see like why it is throwing error. Mhm. Still it is throwing error. We do not have any identity, right? So why we're keeping this identity? That's why it is throwing error. So there is a setting, keep identity. Table lock is fine. We have an identity column. That's something we are not supplying, right? See? So it held in another state. So where it fails here. So we have supplied 336 parameters. We have given all 6 parameters, 3, 3, 6. These these two are numeric, rest all are string. Here, this container time we are trying to supply as an n varchar value, but in actual we have a date time. Since that's the one which was causing issue, let's go and check. There is an invalid number of result binding with return the type, the single row. Do we have you mentioned anything in the single row? No, this is not required anymore. That's the setting we did it wrong. That's why it is throwing error. So it should not be single row. How we are tracing back? So when we come here, it is showing there is an invalid number of result binding returns in this result set type single result set type single row. So we have this execute SQL task which is causing issue. So let's go back and see if it is single row. Yes, single row. You need to change it to none because we are not returning any value. Just to rerun it. We are just trying to execute an SP which will not return anything. It will just insert some records. Still it is failing. Let's go and check the number of departments separating to the instance class type with the difference. Okay, when you're trying to use this diff like date diff, so you should have the compatible data type. So what it is saying, the value which you supply, that's the n varchar data type, but in actual, the expectation is date data type. So just do one thing. First, it will try to change the data type to date and see like if it's working. So this is the one, right? This is the data type. So we have DB. Let's see if we have anything date. Yes, we have a date. So let's use date this time. Done. You got the difference why date is required? Because in actual, we are using a date diff function in throw procedure. And at the same time, the value, what we are expecting for this parameter from the store procedure is also date, but we have given an varchar which is invalid. Okay. So let's go and check. This is, so we can check this table. Together, I'm running this too. So now you can see we have 6 records, and here we have the log information. Likewise, um, so this is the ID, which is incremental value. This is the file that we are trying to process. This is the target table. This is there is 6 record that we receive. There is 6 record that we uploaded. This is the date that we have processed. This is the package name that we are trying to execute, and this is the duration in seconds. I believe this is something wrong. We have given a wrong value. This should not be the duration. This should be hardly 1 or 2 seconds. Okay. So why it is showing this? I got it because you have given the data type as date. When you're giving the data type as date, it will not check the data for this particular, uh, I mean, hours, minutes, and seconds. If you would like to change this, you can just change it and try date time. Okay. So this time you should capture the time as well. Okay. Let's run it and see this time. At least you'll get the difference. This is 0000. That's why it's giving a difference for a particular whole day. So see, you're getting the difference. This is executed within 1 or 2 seconds. So that's something is negligible. So the difference is coming at 0. Let's say it is taking 1 minute or more than 1 minute. Then you'll get the difference here in the duration. So this is all about for today.